Alright, howdy folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about the latest news that's come out from the developers of Hell Let Loose. They just released their 2023 roadmap, and I want to discuss what's hopefully going to be coming to Hell Let Loose in the next months. I'd like to start off this video by mentioning that the original developer, Black Matter, has recently sold the intellectual property rights for Hell Let Loose to the game's publisher, Team 17. Team 17 has since then assembled a new group of developers to continue working on the game. I wish them a lot of luck, and hopefully they can make the vast majority of the 2023 roadmap a reality. There are 5 major updates planned on the roadmap, set to happen in April, June, July, September, and December. Additionally, they also released a roadmap reveal video with a little bit of additional commentary, in which a developer stated that every calendar year they want to cover 1 year of World War II. 2023 is the year of 1939, which we'll touch on in the December part of this video later on, with the assumption that 2024 will cover 1940, 2025 will cover 1941, and so on. Let's start by taking a look at April and move throughout the year to see what you can expect from now till December of this year. So the April part of the roadmap has actually just been released as I was in the process of making this video, with new free and paid DLC, as well as some bug fixes and mostly map updates. The gameplay analytics part of this update might be the biggest one. According to the developers, this addition will hopefully allow them to finally fix legacy bugs such as the infamous loadout bug. The free DLC adds a few helmets, whereas the paid DLC adds 2 German uniforms, ones that I personally don't really care about, but if you like the game and you want to support these new developers while getting access to a little bit of extra drip, the option is there for you. Now, the June update is looking to be a big one. The British faction will finally release after having been talked about and teased for a long time now. I know it's not stated on the roadmap, besides British vehicles, weapons, and units, it'll also include 2 specific British maps. Here's a screenshot of a developer confirming it on the Hell Let Loose official Discord. In October of 2022, it was said that one of the new maps that would be introduced would introduce a new theater as well. Now, I believe that it's largely assumed that this will add the Netherlands, and within that Operation Market Garden as a theater, though to me, France and the Netherlands are both part of the Western European theater. More interesting would be to see the North African or Italy campaign, in which British and the Commonwealth in general also took a large part of, but we'll just have to see what the new theater ends up being. Furthermore, in this update, the non-verbal communication tools should be huge. As someone like myself who has hundreds of hours playing Apex Legends, a system similar to that would be amazing. You don't really need VoIP to tell your random teammates what's going on in that game, because there's basically an interactive button for anything. In Hell Let Loose, this will hopefully allow a much higher level of communication between talking and non-talking players than is currently possible. Lastly, I'd like to touch on the improved player locomotion, which is also quickly mentioned in the developer roadmap video, which should greatly improve the mantling mechanics. I've always just found vaulting in Hell Let Loose tedious, which was something I'd purposely honestly try to avoid in or even near combat situations. Hopefully these improvements will help make it feel less annoying. I am surprised they are releasing 2 bigger updates this little apart, but in July, the main interesting features to me are the new game mode called Objective, a new tutorial system, a 101st Airborne DLC, and also the addition of an in-game store. Now, the new game mode sounds very exciting. As per the developer roadmap video, it is a much shorter mode time-wise, whereas a regular Hell Let Loose match can last up to 90 minutes. This mode should be less than half that, at about 30 to 40 minutes. In this video, they specifically mentioned the Brecourt battery attack, as seen in Band of Brothers, to be descending for the objective mode. It'll be a smaller battle without armor. Now, whether the 101st Airborne DLC will tie in with the Brecourt battery objective mode, or what this DLC even consists of, is unknown at this time. It's maybe a little worrying that it's mentioned separate from the premium DLC, though if it stays as a cosmetic DLC as all the other DLCs until now, I guess I don't mind it too much. The reason I'm slightly worried about this being mentioned separately is also the addition of an in-game store. Now, whether this will just allow non-Steam users to get access to premium content, or if there's more to it, we'll have to see in July. Most interesting in September is the fact that they are making a verified version of Hell Let Loose for the Steam Deck. Personally, I can't imagine a first-person shooter being comfortable playing on a system like that, especially if you're going to assumedly be playing versus console players or even PC players, though it's an interesting choice nonetheless for people who own the Steam Deck. Hell Let Loose will also be made available on the Windows Store, and this could mean that Hell Let Loose will be added to Game Pass, which is Microsoft's subscription service, which gives users access to a ton of games for 10 or 15 bucks a month, which in turn, of course, could lead to a large influx of new players for Hell Let Loose, which is always welcome. Now, December is where the real hype begins. We are not getting one, but two new factions for Hell Let Loose, factions that are actually rarely seen in any World War II game. This is also the beginning of the 1 year of war per calendar year. So starting off with 1939, we will get both the 1939 Battle for Danzig as well as Finnish forces fighting against Soviet forces in the 1939-1940 Winter War. A new clan system and a new game mode, as well as further implementation of the tutorial system scheduled for this update. Per the roadmap video, the new game mode Skirmish will be a lot smaller in scale compared to the regular Hell Let Loose sessions and will center around the battle for the Danzig post office between German and Polish forces. They also mention new vehicles here. Perhaps one of these Steyr armored cars of the SS Hamia Danzig will be added. Personally, I am very excited to see these more underlit World War II battles finally getting some attention, thus bring me to question the game's current system, where historical accuracy is sacrificed for gameplay reasons. In Stalingrad, the Soviets can access the IS-2 heavy tank, while Germans can run around with STG-44s. Hopefully, the German faction in the Danzig map will not have access to late war equipment in 1939. Another awesome addition, which actually has a lot of options for future development, is the new Finnish faction. Initially, this will cover the Winter War, in which the Finnish heroically resisted but ultimately failed to hold back a Soviet invasion. The interesting thing about adding the Finnish is that they fought the Soviets again from 1941 to 1944, and after that even fought the Germans, their own old allies, for a few months from late 44 till basically the end of the war in Europe in 1945. I would be surprised if the developers don't add some of the future battles featuring the Finnish later down the line. Per the roadmap video, the Winter War Edition will also see new gameplay features, with the developer talking about the particular tactics the Finns used during this conflict. Whether this means we will get skis to do hit and run attacks against Soviet units isn't clear, but I sure hope so, and also the picture is literally a pair of skis. Furthermore, the video has a developer talk about dynamic weather or blizzards to potentially be a part of this update. Here, I am thinking of Battlefield with major events happening at a point during the game that'll make it feel very different from previous matches. Think of a major blizzard to greatly reduce visibility, or weather that randomly changes during the course of a battle. A rain or snowstorm could hide your footstep sounds and allow you to more easily sneak up on an enemy flank. The addition of the Finns to Hell Let Loose is super exciting, and I hope the developers will continue to build upon them as a faction for years to come. Now, most of these updates also introduce bug fixes, paid and or other free DLCs, as well as map refreshes and some other things that I just didn't think were worth highlighting in this specific video. Now, I personally have been playing Hell Let Loose really in chunks, with large amounts of time spent not playing the game, then spend an easy 20 hours in a week, and then again stop playing for a while. Hopefully some of these new modes, factions, or maps can bring me back and stay engaged for more than a week at a time. For now, I am interested in hearing what you think about this 2023 roadmap and what you are most looking forward to yourself. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.